Hello Excels, it's Remy here. Today I'll be making a build guide of a build that I have been playing for the past few weeks, which is the Ashelding Chaos Animate Weapon. So before I start this video, I want to quickly point out that I will not go into details of this build because most of the details you could already find it on the PoE, and I will be only going into details of the more important information that you need to know of this build. And I want to quickly note that this build is not scripted at all, so I would be apologizing in advance for my within this video. So anyway, without further ado, let's start this video. So when you got this PoE, the link is down below the description. So you want to look at the notes section. So I have included important information you can find within the notes section, such as pros and cons, map mods to avoid, gem swaps, optional gear swaps, how do you get 90% auras, and Animate Guardian gear discussion. So for the player gear, I have a set of stuff right here. You can see here, there's a player gear. Here is the player gear highlighted, which means that these are the important gears that you should not be dropping or going for other alternatives. And there's an Animate Guardian and a budget Animate Guardian. Right, so let's start off with the gear. So these highlighted gears are the mandatory ones. So for the helmet, we are actually currently using Ancient Skull with Discipline, Mana Reservation Efficiency Enchant, but you could look for Purity of Elements or Discipline. Only look for both of those. And then for the threat script, please look for 4 whites. I don't recommend you to drop for 3 whites or 2 whites because 4 whites is not very expensive. The last time I got it was 3x. I think the most expensive it could go is about like 8x, but I don't think that would be the case. But if you have difficulties on obtaining one, you could just go double corrupt one or go for Voragy 4 white on it. Right. The other thing that I want to mention is the chest piece. So in order to get 90% auras, you want to have +3 to maximum lightning resistance, which is a searing implicit, I believe. Let me check in game again. So yes, it is a searing implicit. As you can see, it is called exquisite, which means that you need to spam the Orb of Conflict in order to hit tier 5 and in order to get the +3 to max rest. So this is an important thing you need to note. You could just buy any ES chest. So I bought of 650 ES chest from the market, and I just craft it with the Eldritch Implicit, Eldritch Ichor, or the currency or items. And then the next thing I want to mention is the Vivisect Ring. So if you have enough attributes and you are able to solve the attribute issues, you could just go for something like a Paria or a Rare Ring with the Crusader Influence with the increased maximum energy shield. So either Paria, which is this ring, this one, Paria. So yeah, either Paria or going for the Rare Ring with a lot of ES. And for the belt tolerance reclamation is optional, so I went for this because it gives me it gives me a lot of speed, and it also gives me a lot of damage. As you can see, if I just drop it, I would lose like about 12% of my total damage from my animate weapons. So you need to activate this Harbinger of Time. It slips to activate, so you will be able to know you'll be able to calculate the buffs for your minion damage. But anyway, this is pretty much what I need to mention for the gear. So for the flask, so you could actually swap out Rumi's Concoction with Haste of Hate, which is this one. So you want to look out for max roll physical damage from hits taken as cold damage, because we are relatively weak against physical damage. Right, now for the passive tree, this is how the passive tree looks like. So I want to quickly mention about this cluster jewel right here. So this is a generic like 12 passive cluster, but I went with 9 passive because 9 passive is a lot cheaper, and we don't need to look for specifically a 12 passive, because 12 passive is a lot more expensive, and we don't need all of the passive points on it either. And for the jewels I use it in the build, so Forbidden Flame of Occultist might be a bit more expensive, which is the Weight Beacon. So this is one of the most expensive part of the gear. So if you are on low budget, you could actually just drop this and you look for something like this, which is a cluster jewel with increased minion damage. If you have used a minion skill recently and you look for a minion added chaos, if you want more damage or you want more defensive, you can just look for maximum energy shield. One of them, this one is actually a mandatory one, which is the pure aptitude. It's because you want to have enough reservation efficiency for your all of your mana pool. Right now, for the skill gems, this is how it looks like. So the important thing I want to mention is this one must be socketed on weapon 1 and this one must be socketed on weapon 2. So the main reason for this is because we have envy on our United in Dreams. So if you put Awakened Generosity, it will also support the envy on the United in Dreams. So for the shield, the main reason we got putting it on the shield is because Wakatutuki actually gives +3 to minion gems, which is basically an empower for our Animate Guardian. So this is it boosts a lot of our survivability for our Animate Guardian. So for the other ones, which is the helmets, boots, clothes, this can be put on any forlings, and same goes to the convocation and purity. Right now, for the Animate Guardian gear, so this is the Animate Guardian gear I went for, and the current one that I am using right now. So Kingmaker is mandatory. You should not be using any other stuff right here. And for the Cardigan Ground is the main reason for Cardigan Ground is to prevent my Animate Guardian from critting, which will be triggering the Ancient Skull debuff. So I don't want that to happen. So I just put it on the Cardigan Ground on him. So grab this is a synthesis chest, and it might be the most expensive part of the build for the Animate Guardian. So this one is very good is because it grants you crit immune, and it also grants you cannot be fully slowed, which means you cannot be frozen, you cannot be petrified or anything. So this is actually a 2-set combo, which is Grasp Bind and Legacy of Fury. So the main reason I go for this is because I want to explode. But if you don't need to explode, I don't think it's mandatory, because the main reason I'm going for explode is because I was farming blind, and the explode on blind is actually pretty mandatory. But if you're not doing what I'm doing, you could just go for an intimidate, Eldritch Implicit Gloves, and then for the Legacy of the Fury, you could just swap on something like this. You can see a Searing Intimidate Gloves, and then for the boots I went with Victorious Flight, or you could go for the Brittle Ground boots. So if you're on budget, you just swap out on this body armor with a Searing Recoup chest. I believe the Recoup actually works on Animate Guardian, and I am not 100% sure, but I believe it does. Right now, the end is pretty much on the build. So in game, I want to cover a different set of stuff, because in game I am currently utilizing a different set of gems and weapons, and a different card playstyle. So I want to quickly mention. So the main stuff I swap out is Anonymous Convocation. I put my warding place under my ring instead of my weapons, because I occasionally want to use Flame Dash, because Flame Dash, like for example the Searing fight where you have to dash over the walls to dodge them, that's the time that you don't want to be using Whirling Blades. Currently I am actually using Hydrosphere. You can see Arcane Sprint, Hydrosphere, and Assassin's Mark, and then I just swap out the Spell Cascade with Divergent Flesh Offering, and I drop Clarity for more room. So I want to just quickly show a map and show you guys how this build actually works, because some people might miss some details of this build. So whenever you start a map, I always recommend you to pop your Summon Creature Harbinger. So every time when you log into the game, your Harbinger will desummon, and you just make sure to resummon your Harbinger every time when you log into the game. So you start off by desecrating and pop your Flesh Offering, and immediately start Blade Falling and summon your Animate Weapons. So you need to kind of aim your Animate Weapons. So if I just like summon my weapons right here, I'm just stop summoning, as right now I can't even summon. So you have to kind of aim a little bit in order to summon your Animate Weapons. So once you're done with that, you just run it down to your enemies. So you don't have to care much, you can just Whirling Blades all the way and you should be just fine. So occasionally you just pop Flesh Offering for more speed. So just pop this one out. So you can just run it down, you shouldn't be wondering too much. So if you just saw the fire circle explosion, that is the Legacy of Fury explosion. So yeah, you can just pretty much run it down on the enemies, and the clear is pretty fast. Even though the downside is whenever on the loading screen you have to wait for a bit, but that downside is rather mitigated. So you can see there's a double mini splash right there. That is because the Hydrosphere mini splash combo, it actually still works relatively well, but the only downside is that you could not hit your Hydrosphere with your Blade Fall, because once you hit your Hydrosphere with the Blade Fall, it will makes the minions stop it, unable to attack the Hydrosphere. So yeah, that is pretty much how the build plays out. So when you enter a new loading screen, for example Episode Depths, you have to resummon your Animate Weapon. So you just have to just spam your Blade Fall and then just resummon it, and that's pretty much it. So that is pretty much all for the build. Oh, I want to also quickly mention the Bandits and the Pantheons. So for the Pantheons, I use Lunaris. I did not fully upgrade it, but if you have actually room for that, I just upgrade it. And then I took Ralakesh. So Lunaris and Ralakesh, and then for the Bandits, you just kill all of them. And for my skill gem setup, you want to put Convocation on your left click because it gives your minion 100% more movement speed. And then I put my Animate Guardian on my right click. I put Whirling Blades on my Q. Arcane Sprint right here. Flash Offering, Blade Fall, and Vow Discipline. So Vow Discipline is basically like your life flash. So whenever you're in danger, just pop it out. And I put Desecrate on my Control W, and I put the Summon Karen Golem on my R. So if whenever you just die, you just pop your auras right here. And if you need to resummon your specters, in case when your specter die, I just swap out my Harbinger with this Ray Spectre skill. So most of the time, your Animate Guardian should not be dying at all. My Animate Guardian has not died at all, and I haven't even seen him drop below 90% of HP. And also, most of the time, your Karen Golem is rather squishy, so whenever he dies, you just have to pop Control R and resummon him, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, and yeah, this is pretty much all for the build. I hope you guys learned something from this build guide, and I hope this is informative for you all. So if you do want to know more content and want to see more content like this in the future, please subscribe. And if you do enjoy this video, please leave a like or comment down in the comment sections if you have any questions for the build. So this is all for the build, and yeah, see you next time. Have a good one.